I'd like to say we have the star of the show, and it's my pleasure to invite up to the stage a beautiful girl who's not only beautiful but sings beautifully. She's a member of our congregation, her parents and her grandmother. We're delighted to have her with us. I'm sure you're going to love what she's going to sing for you. Please welcome Olivia Brodsky.
Dreaming of you won't help me to Rabbi Krakoff comes up here to give a few words, I just wanted to say that it is my mom's 52nd birthday, and I want to wish her a very happy birthday, and if you could all sing along once Rabbi Krakoff gets up here, I think she would love that. And her name is Susan.
I'm glad Olivia announced the number, because I never would have said it. Now I can't get in trouble. But I do know another number, and it's also Emery Klein's 85th birthday. Where is Emery sitting? There he is, Emery. Are there any other birthdays today? Any others? Going? Oh, Martin Luther King Jr. Okay, and he is... I'm not sure. So we're going to sing to Susan Emery, happy birthday.
Here's your chance to sing.
Everybody, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Susan and Emery. Happy birthday to you.
We're going to do it in Hebrew. We're at a synagogue after all.
Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach. Here we go. Simon Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simon Tov.
That's why we came. So I wanted to ask you a question. How many of you are staying here in Boca? Either how many in Boca or in the area around Boca, somewhere around Boca? Oh my gosh, wow. And how many of you are staying on the west side of the state? And wow, okay. And you came here just tonight to be with us, right? Excellent. Welcome. That's great. And how many of you are staying till Passover or just before Passover? A lot, okay. So I want you to know that I know that Passover is very early this year, and I'm sorry about that. I've already spoken to God, and next year Passover will be later, so we'll be able to stay here a little bit longer. So sorry for the little glitch in our communication. But actually in the Torah portions this week and last week, we're reading about Passover. We're reading about the 10 plagues. And people often ask the question, well, why are we reading about Passover in January? And then we'll read it, and then why is Passover later? And the short answer to that is we read about the holidays and the plagues as they appear chronologically in the Torah, and then we get to Passover a few weeks from now, or many weeks from now. May it go slowly for all of us. We'll read these sections again from the Torah. But of all 10 plagues, which plague do you think our ancestors said was the worst plague of all? If you had to guess, what was it? Marriage? I didn't see that in the list. But let me think about that for a second. No. In the actual list, yeah?
The frogs!
The frogs. Why do you think the frogs are the worst?
Because they were so plentiful that they couldn't do anything. They were everywhere.
They were everywhere. So plentiful, they were everything. Okay, frogs. Anyone other guesses for which plague was the most? Yeah, what do you think? The plague of the firstborn. Why do you think that? For obvious reasons, right? The death of right, okay. All right, anyone else? Other guesses? Other thoughts? We've got frogs, the death of the firstborn, any other? Marriage, right, which isn't one of them, that's number 11. Any other guesses? What do you think? Locusts, why locusts? Just devastation, everything, okay. All right, anyone else? Yeah. Who? Hail, why hail? You just remember reading about that, so it's okay. All right, fair enough. Okay, well, actually, you're all right, sort of. But what the rabbis say actually is the plague of darkness. The rabbis think the plague of darkness is the worst. And so think about, well, let me just say a word about blood and frogs for a real quick minute. You think about blood, right? Blood filled the Nile. And then the magicians came, the Egyptian magicians, to show that this plague that came from God through Moses and Aaron wasn't so bad after all. But what's incredible, if you read the story about the Nile, what would have been a great thing for the magicians to do? To take the blood out of the Nile so they could drink the water. What do the magicians do? They actually put more blood into the Nile. People don't even think about that, right? The Egyptians couldn't drink it because of the plague of blood, and the magicians aren't so great because they don't take the blood away. In terms of frogs, if you remember from when we dip our finger in the wine or the grape juice at the Seder, right, we say Tzfardea. And Tzfardea is, guess how many frogs? 1. According to the Torah, it's only 1 frog. So how could it be so, right? And you know the answer to this. Because what the rabbis say is that frog got so big that it burst apart and turned into a lot of little tiny frogs that were going all over the place. But if you think about it from this perspective, the problem with blood was there was nothing to drink. The problem with frogs and locusts and grasshoppers was that there was nothing to eat. But the plague of darkness, when the lights went out on Egypt, what could they do? The rabbis teach us that there was darkness across the entire land of Egypt, and no man, no woman was able to see his brother or sister. They couldn't see literally right in front of their face if they held up their hand. That's how dark it was. And so the rabbis say that the plague is really much more than just physical darkness, but the fact was they couldn't see the pain of their brothers and sisters. And that's far worse than hunger, and that's far worse than thirst. They go as far as to say they had the inability through this plague of darkness to see past their own needs and their thoughts and their desires. Now it's true that all of us from time to time get caught up in our own thoughts and get focused on ourselves. But the problem begins when we're so caught up in our own stuff, right, that we let it build a wall around us and we're not able to hear or see the pain or the struggle or the sorrows of our friends and our family. And that's why the rabbis said that this plague of darkness was the worst of all 10 of the plagues. See, darkness for our ancestors was not merely the absence of light, which could be dispelled by light and fire, but it was a darkness so thick that it could be touched. It was a darkness of the deepest nature imaginable. And again, as I said, it was so dense that people could not see one another. One of the things that I loved about our beloved Rabbi Groner of blessed memory, who we buried on New Year's Day and who died on December 30th, was that he deeply felt and saw the pain of all of us. He saw our pain and he was there for us, not in only our sad times, but in our happy times as well. I know so many of you here had the wonderful experience of either learning with Rabbi Groner, celebrating with Rabbi Groner, or in sad times having Rabbi Groner come and comfort you, bring you comfort and consolation amidst your sadness. And so as we come here today, we would be remiss, if we didn't take a moment to remember our beloved Rabbi Groner and to celebrate what he meant to all of us personally, what he meant to our community, and certainly what he meant to Israel as the Jewish people. His reach was really so far and wide. And all of the speakers who spoke at his funeral on January 1st took a different aspect of his life, a different aspect of his rabbinate, and reflected on that in a beautiful way. And I know that if you didn't get a chance and you'd like to see the funeral, you can go onto the Ira Kaufman website and watch it. It was really just an amazing experience from a perspective of seeing one individual and the impact that he had on so many people. And so I pray that his memory for all of us continue to be a blessing. I just want to conclude with this, and we'll get back to the wonderful music. We talked about the darkness in the homes of the Egyptians. But what's interesting is in the house of all of Israel, there was light. And one of our traditional commentators, Ibn Ezra, said that this actual light emanated from all the houses of Israel. And that part of the reason that we were able to have light when the Egyptians experienced darkness was because of, as Jews and as Israelites back at that time, our love for one another, our caring for one another, our listening to one another, and the ability to really truly see each other made in the image of God. Because of that, according to our traditional ancestors, there was light. And so I pray for all of us, may all of us be blessed with light in our homes and in our lives, now and always. Thank you. Back to the music.
So once a month at Shaarey Zedek, we have what's called Music and Motzi, where we have a band and we have some wonderful singers, and that includes Olivia here, and I play the keyboard, and I've composed some special songs for that Music and Motzi. So we'd like to share with you a couple of those tonight. First one is Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav. La 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 la
Olivia